Welcome, everybody. I thank you for joining the Father Show. Let me ask you, we're going to have a person on the show today, and we're going to be talking about stress. I know a lot of things that's going on today with the COVID-19 and all that, that a lot of us are really under a lot more stress than we are used to. And today we have a young lady that her mission is to make the world a better place. She's an inspirational leader, a mentor, a connector for business owners who are changing the world. She is an author, a creator of wellness events, projects, and programs. So I want you to welcome to the show. We're going to have Miss Anna Pereira joining us here shortly. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us here on the Father Show, and I'm your host, Mike Thompson. But before we go any further, don't forget to subscribe. Click on that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll know whenever we have a new show, which is every Tuesday. But today we have a great guest, and we have a young lady here from her company is the Wellness Universe, and she is an expert, and we're going to be talking about stress. And I know a lot of us are really under a lot of stress that this COVID-19 has brought on, the unemployment, working, and thank goodness if you are, but you might be working less hours, you might be working from home, and that's another stress level all in itself. Me, I enjoy it. But for some, if you got little kids and, other not used to being cooped up in the house, is hard. So I want you to welcome Miss Anna Pereira. And Miss Anna Pereira is a wellness coach, and she is been around this business for a while. But I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about it. Anna, how are you doing?
Great, Mike. And thank you so much for having me on your show. I do appreciate it because I think that this conversations would be very powerful for the dads out there and their wives, the moms in the household, and the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it really has brought a different dynamic for a lot of families in regards to how they go about their day-to-day activities. And I know, I talked to an IT guy, and he hated working from home. But me and myself, I enjoy it. But he likes that interaction that he gets from other people, and that's very understandable. But it can bring a lot more stress when you have to balance work and the kids and all the other things that you have to do as a family. So, how long have you been in the wellness business?
Oh, okay. Well, I actually started the Wellness Universe in 2014, 2015. We went online live with the first site. I have always been an advocate for empowerment, self-expression, confidence, anti-bullying. These are all the things that I was always into. And funny enough, I had my own clothing line, and it was about
Hmm.
self-expression, yeah, and creativity and positive phrases and words and things like that. And when I used to do buyer shows and I would be speaking to the buyer and, sharing my story with them, they would say to me, what are you, a motivational speaker? And I said, I don't even know what a motivational speaker is. So, so since then, I kind of got the nudge to to explore this part of myself and what I contribute to the world. And when I got married and moved, because I lived between New Jersey and Portugal,
Mm-hmm.
when I moved to Portugal, I started a jewelry collection that was spiritually, uh, enhanced, if you will. And when I started my social media around the jewelry collection, I started down the road of expressing myself and sharing inspirational thoughts. And from there, it really grew, my following, my network. I started networking with other people who are inspirational, motivational coaches
Mm-hmm.
for mindset, things like that. And from there is where I really was inspired to create the Wellness Universe, because I myself don't do, I don't bill myself as a coach. Let me put it that way. I do a lot
Okay.
of coaching, but I don't bill myself as a coach. I'm more like a producer, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of the Martin Scorsese, the director, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
even. But bringing together all of these resources for wellness and well-being is really what I love and I'm passionate about, because I like to, bring together the teachers, bring together the people who inspire, and then share what they're doing. And I also echo it, and I'm the one basically raising them up and giving them a platform and
Okay.
creating the different opportunities in which they can get their message out there.
Okay. That's good. That's really good. And I know with this COVID incident and this deal right now, a lot of those people have been working extra hard to get their message out.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of noise out there. There is a lot of messaging and a lot of uh, I just want to say noise. I mean, and there between social media and all of the regular platforms, and now we have the new platform Clubhouse, which is all audio,
Mm-hmm.
and easy to jump on and off. There's a lot of people sharing um, their ideas and what they're inspired to share. May or may not be really great. So sometimes you just want to focus in on what's going to be really helpful to you, because anybody can get on, YouTube, or anybody can get on their Facebook page, or anybody can get on and just start sharing a message. But where are we spending our time now that it's even more limited? Because as you mentioned about COVID, and we're home and we're working from home, and people are using the Wi-Fi, or people are using you only have a limited amount of
Mm-hmm.
time on, you know, certain places, because you have to really slice and dice up your time at home, with the other responsibilities to take care of
Right.
the household. So what messaging are you listening to? How are you really focusing in on what's important that's really going to help you, And so that's where I love to, share these types of resources, because these are truly transformational resources, truly resources that will help you, and also people that you can actually connect with, like all of the authors that are in our book, all of
Mm-hmm.
the coaches, therapists, and counselors that are part of the Wellness Universe. They're real people that are there for you. It's not just like you're reading a blog or you're listening to some content or you're watching some videos. If you really need to take things a step further and need that one-on-one support or that group support, these people can be there to help you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, I think, also another thing that's really important, because we can consume content all day long, but if we need more support, not always can you reach out to the author of that article, for example,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And it is a lot of people are dealing with stress, but why is it important to you that people beat or best manage their stress?
Well, one of the reasons is I'm really inspired and motivated by my childhood and what lacked, and
Mm-hmm.
there was a lack of empowerment in my household. There was a lack of um, confidence building. There was a lack of clear direction and support in my upbringing. There was a lack of nurturing, and I think a lot of that came from the fact that there was a lot of stress, a lot of underdeveloped emotional intelligence, on behalf of my folks. And I think that all of these things, if they could be addressed and we can empower people on a higher level for these criteria to be a more well-rounded human being, they're a better parent, they raise better children, we are more productive, we contribute to an evolved society, and therefore we build a humanity that's gets us closer and closer and closer to world peace. So for me, it sounds like, this is like branches upon branches of a tree, but it's so far out. But these are the roots of, and foundational for us to be at our peak performance, and that's to manage our stress, to be a happier, healthier person, to find ways to, embody joy and live in those positive spaces. So for me, it's about you being the best human you can be, so you can raise better children, be a better friend, be a better parent, be a better daughter, son. So we create a better world.
So, what are some different ways that a person can handle the stress?
Well, it's a mind, body, spirit approach. I totally believe it has to be holistic. Just like, you see somebody that's really physically fit, right? And you think that, oh my gosh, that person's so healthy and everything else because of their appearance. But then you realize that they're probably doing something to supplement them to have a great physique. And then they have a lot of other issues emotionally. And they're using, working out and being obsessed with working out to mask their emotional traumas or things like that. So for me, it's a whole mind, body, spirit approach in order to be free of stress and to live a better life. And I think that to incorporate the different dynamics that touch in those different areas, like I'm not going to say just go meditate and it's a spiritual approach, right? Because it's everything. It's physical. It's what you eat. And that could be down to, allergies in addition to, what's healthy for you and when to eat, getting your sleep, making sure you're well rested, making sure you're hydrated. So there's all these physical aspects, right? Then there's the environmental aspects. We have one of our chapters on toxics, removing the toxics from your environment, because then that leads to your physical well-being, again, with what you're inhaling, what you're absorbing, what is coming in through your eyes and your vision, all of these things around you. So it's environmental support of your stress levels. And then there are, of course, the mindset, the different types of mindset strategies, things like that. I'm a big advocate for EFT, emotional freedom technique, which is tapping. Have you ever heard of tapping before?
I've heard of tapping, yes, because they've done it for, I think, 80 age for kids, if I'm correct.
It's a really great tool to learn for anxiety, for anger management, for stress reduction, for calming yourself down. And it's immediate once you learn how to do it. And plenty of videos. We have 2 chapters in the book on EFT with 2 different techniques from 2 different authors. And, there's so many different methods and modalities that we can apply to life, but it's not just one thing. And I wouldn't say that it's just there's one way to fix, stress. Then it's communication, right? Your relationship and how you communicate, how you respond, how you manage triggers. So it's your emotional state, managing your emotional state, so you can, respond and create an environment that's more conducive to peace, bringing about peace in the household, amongst the tension. And then, of course, dealing with all the dynamics, because maybe you weren't home before full time, and now you get to see, like, let's say your wife was, and I don't want to play role play, but like, let's say, or give primary roles assigned to the wife being, the one raising the kids. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, dad was out at work. Now he's home working from home. Mom raised the kids. Now he gets to see, what really happens during the day and how she has to, do damage control when somebody has a fallout, and, and you have to learn how to navigate those type of situations in an emotionally intelligent way, so everyone's happy, so you keep the peace, so you can move forward with the relationships being happy. And so therefore I think it is a mind body spirit approach, an environmental approach
Mm-hmm.
to reducing stress. And again, with this one specific book that we did, there's 25 chapters, and you have all of these different modalities and methods, and it's from mindset to your emotions to all of these different modalities and techniques to help you, but also it helps you to how you interact and engage with everyone around you that you love,
Yeah.
which helps you to keep your stress levels also under control.
So how can a man really recognize when he is reaching his stress level?
Like his limit.
Yes. When he's had it up to here.
Is head up to here. Well, that would be one thing. I'm when saying I'm headed up to here. There's the physical. There's obviously the physical things that you pick up on very quickly. When you get angry, agitated, you lose your sense of grounding, and you can't get back to step one to refocus your conversation and have an emotionally intelligent conversation and a thoughtful conversation. And you are you can't deal with it anymore. And then there's the other physical signs of not being able to sleep, not functioning, forgetting what you're supposed to be doing. Your daily functions are thrown off. You're throwing yourself off of your routine and your schedule. So all of these things are signs that you're in overwhelm, you're stressed out, and this is when you really need to start. Hopefully, you address yourself and your total well-being. Obviously, this is what I'm an advocate of.
Yeah.
Before you get to this point. But of course, the resource that we put together is to be proactive as well as, unfortunately, to be reactive when you're in that state and to get yourself out. But all of these things show that you're stressed out. For things that you would do all the time that you forget, things that you do not as effectively. When you start dropping the ball here and there, these are signs of stress, being in your life. When you feel that you're physically run down, when you feel like you're emotionally depleted, these are all signs of stress.
Yeah. So they really need to horn in on what their body is telling them and what they might not be paying attention to. Uh, and really know that when you are really stressed out, when you snap at the kids or you snap at your wife, you realize that you have to do something else to release the stress that you have and getting used to being at home. And you might be on a conference call and the kids are running around, you be like shh, and that just sends you skyrocketing with anger, and you really don't need to be. So I know with stress, it is dangerous for your body. Is dangerous for your health, as you was mentioning, your mind, body, and your soul. So wouldn't you say that you would have to also watch what is coming in your ears as well?
Absolutely, boundaries are a big thing. Paying attention to where you pay attention, where you put your energy.
Mm-hmm.
As mentioned before, sometimes, and what I see happening a lot, I cut myself off from watching the news years
Mm-hmm.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have to safeguard ourselves and know what causes us to go to those negative thought patterns, go into those spirals, go into where we're thinking, the thoughts are constantly processing in our head about the negativities or the fears or what's happening. So As far as news and things like that, you want to obviously limit yourself or try to take in more positive things. When
Right.
it comes to people that you know that are just not healthy for you, and just don't engage in conversation with them or try to put up your boundaries. And you have to think of yourself and your family first. And that's above everything. And sometimes we think of work first because work brings in the finances so we can provide for our families. But in the end of the day, like, very religious people are put God first. It really
Hmm.
is about you and your family. So you have to think about what is it that's going to make you your best, most productive dad and husband, in the household. And it's not your job that's going to bring in the funding. Yes, that's important. It is very important because, of course, that would cause stress if that didn't happen.
Hmm.
But it really is about what's going to make you the best dad and the best husband.
Yeah. And you really have to look at that, as you mentioned earlier, on an individual basis. Because what might work for me is not going to work for someone else. But like you, I agree. I have cut out the news. I watch it just to the point so I keep abreast of what's going on in the world. But I don't sit there and listen to it every day, 2 or 3 hours a day. It's like, okay, find out what's going on, move on. And I've even taught that to my daughter, our youngest child, that we were noticing the music that she listened to. And I love music, and so does she. But it was a type of music that she was listening to that I told her she needed to change because the type of music, the genre that she was listening to, put a lot of negativity in her head. And so once she got away from that, she's been much better.
Fantastic. And it is so important because we hear those messages, and sometimes I'll go back and listen to something that I was listening to when I was younger, and I'm like, oh my gosh, did I really understand what that meant, at the time, And so, yeah, I that's a really great thing that you are vigilant of that, and helping her as she's young. So, you can guide her in the right direction. So
Hmm.
she is, empowering herself through what she's listening to, or, it's something that's wonderful to fill her time to give her something to do, and to cause enjoyment for her,
Yeah.
rather than create thoughts and beliefs around the negative stuff that,
Yeah.
some songs have.
And you really have to stay away from the negativity as much as you can. I've been a big advocate for that, for myself personally. If you bring drama into my life, cut you out. That's not even a problem. Yeah, because I don't need it in my life. I like joy. I like being happy. I like laughing and having a good time. So I don't need the drama. So that's one reason I stopped listening to the news. And I know you kind of hinted on it, but you help people doing motivational. Would you say motivational or inspirational videos or music or events is a good thing to help with stress release?
Absolutely. I highly recommend, just doing a Google search and looking for some positive, uplifting, even if you want to call it, manifesting, your dream life. There are so
Hmm.
many resources out there. There's so many things that you can watch or involve yourself in, or conversations taking place nowadays on, just sharing, getting together and, creating a call with like your three buddies, and just say, what are you grateful for today? Do mindful check-in with your friends, two or
Hmm.
three or four of your friends. Get on a Zoom call and just do a nightly check-in, or a morning motivational check-in with your buddies. Like, what do you got planned today? And pat each other on the back virtually on a Zoom call.
Hmm.
Motivate each other, get behind each other. Share what you're grateful for. Things like that to get your mindset right at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, or even both. Things like that really anchor in you, something to work towards or get through the day or share at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Um, Rather than again going towards all of the because it's so easy, because it's a low vibe, fear, negativity, they're low energy, low vibrational words. It's so easy to sink into them. It is harder to rise to the positivity. It is harder to you know to elevate yourself, because that's
Yeah.
what it is, elevated
Well,
thinking and acting.
yeah, because as human beings, for some reason, we gravitate to negativity. It's harder for us to grab hold to the positive, and
Absolutely.
and that's mind-boggling.
Absolutely. And that's why I say, use the power of your tribe, use the power of your circle, and try to reinforce in each other. And sometimes it's hard because, it, men who are, and I'll use the sports analogy, if we played on teams, we know what it is to encourage each other. We know what it
Hmm.
is, to come together, and we know the power of the collective when you're on a team. Just think about that in your personal life as well, though, as well too. And sometimes it's harder to go to and tap into the emotional, pieces, but really that's what it's about. It's getting with your buddies and everybody just being grateful together or motivating each other. I think it's a powerful tool that can be utilized, amongst, because if you have a group, then you're held accountable, right? And when you're
Yeah.
held accountable, you show up. And
Yeah.
when what you're doing feels good and you see the improvements, you stick with it.
Yeah. Now you have a book that's out, and that's called The Wellness Universe Guide to Complete Self-Care, and it gives you 25 tools for stress release. Oh, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna bring it up on the screen. But why don't you tell the audience, more about the book and what they can expect to get out of it?
Well, I love this book. I love this book. It's actually the first in our series. The second one was just released on happiness, and the third one we're working on right now. We take 25 authors from the wellness universe. They're doctors, they're coaches, they're healers, and they've shared a personal story. I want to say like 90% are personal stories of overcoming a challenge or getting through a challenge or sharing what they've learned in life, a personal experience, and about 10% maybe more creating awareness around what they're going to teach you at the end. But each has a chapter, and it allows you to get connected with this individual who's telling the story. And these authors are absolutely amazing. They're all members of the wellness universe, and here to help people have a better life through what they teach and they share. But they each share an individual tool, very different from each other. And like I said before, there's some mindset tools in there, and there's some physical tools in there, and there's like EFT, there's yoga, there's creating a schedule for yourself and how to do that to manage your stress. So there's 25 different ways in order for you to incorporate these modalities, these tools and techniques and practices into your life, so you can um, get through a stressful period right now and also set yourself up for success with a proactive lifestyle choice.
Okay. Now, where can they get this book?
On Amazon.
Okay. All right, good. Now, if a customer or a person wanted to get in touch with you, is that something that you take and you talk with people?
Sure, I would actually direct them to somebody if they
Okay.
are specific about what their needs are. I can take it. I can evaluate how to help them, and then I would direct them to one of our coaches. We have over 3,500 members in the wellness universe, and about 250 that are able to get connected
Okay.
to get the support and help that you want. And that's really what I love to do. I love to be the creator and the facilitator of that, that help.
All right. Well, Anna, thank you so much for being on our show, but unfortunately, that's our time. But I really appreciated coming on the show and talking about stress and letting our listeners know how they can overcome some of those issues that they may be having. And like you said, all we're trying to do is empower them and make them stronger so they can be the best dad that they can possibly be. And I thank you for the advice that you've given today.
Mike, thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope that it resonates and it changes even one life, at least gets them to think about their stress and their daily life and how they can live their optimal self to be the best dad and husband
Yeah.
and brother and, to everyone around them. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mike.
You're quite welcome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. I want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Father Show. And it's been a pleasure to have Anna Pereira to be here on the show to talk about the wellness and get how you can get rid of your stress. So, but don't forget, subscribe and like the program, and don't also share it. You might be having a problem, but your partner might be having the same issue or something similar to it. So make sure you share it. And we do have a show every Tuesday, and you can find it on our website, The Father Show with MikeThompson.com, or you can check on our YouTube channel under the same name. Now, if you get busy and you don't have time, you can always listen to the show on any of our apps with iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, and let's see what else. We have quite a few, so just go out there and check it out. You'll find us on our YouTube page and LinkedIn and Twitter, so you can always find us. So listen to the show. Be the best father that you can be. That's all your kids can ever ask of you, and that's all your wife can ever ask for you, is be the best you that you can possibly be. And there's nothing wrong with improving, because we should be improving every day. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this week. I wish you a great week to come, and stay safe, be blessed, and we'll see you next week.